I had a Decade member reach out to me on a specific hole asking about putting from below or above this ridge, and maybe it's better to be chipping from short of the screen. So I thought I'd just use the hole that he sent in and make a quick video to show you where that thinking can get you in trouble. So here we are looking at the screen, and obviously I'm showing you that the screen is roughly at the widest spot, about 6-ish yards wide. Obviously, as we get down here a little more towards the front, it's pretty narrow, only 17-ish yards wide. And from the video he sent me, it seems like there's a ridge that's pretty severe running right along this area because he talks about leaving it short of the green instead of being up above this ridge. Now, I'm certainly not a total moron. I can realize that being above this ridge does not look like a good spot. He's obviously hit this putt very soft from right by the ridge, and it still rolls out what looks like a good, guesstimating based on the length of the flagstick there, 4-ish feet long. Now, coming back to this hole, you can see I'm just going to, for fun, drag this thing back to the second tee box. We're looking right at 160. Next tee box, we're right at 190. And then the back tee box is a laughable 220 yards. As always, I come back to this particular slide so often in my seminar, in the Decade app, everywhere. This is a PGA Tour Rookie of the Year, winner on the PGA Tour. This guy's really good at golf. He was hitting a 7-iron here, about 188 yards was what he told me he would be hitting this thing. And I had him hit just 20 shots, and yes, we normalized it to no wind, and there was about a 15-ish mile-an-hour wind off the left that day. I think he was having trouble with just firing it at a pin and then just letting the shot go wherever it would. But let's throw out this shot right here. We've got this one 16 yards left, this one 12 yards right. This entire shot pattern is 28 yards wide, which is essentially exactly what I just showed you that green is in total width. So now I've just taken and cut and paste that green into a PowerPoint so I can show you some images and some shot patterns and ellipses. This right here is, again, now this is roughly 27, 28 yards wide. This is essentially exactly what you just saw with that shot pattern from a PGA Tour player. Just showing you the size. Now if I move this thing down here to where it's about centered 10-ish yards on the green, which would be roughly right here. If you know anything about Decade, and if this place is the super easy shot to get it up and down, you know that that's a -2, so we're going to drift a little bit closer towards it. Now, I'm going to Control-C, paste that. I'm going to turn the color into yellow so we can, oh, that wasn't it. So we can look at a different shot pattern. Again, obviously exact same size. And now I can move this thing around anywhere. Obviously this isn't a good idea, but let's go. We want to be chipping from short, so we don't want to be above that ridge, so we've got to move the entire shot pattern. There's nothing you can do to make your shot pattern magically smaller. Remember, that's just a fact. That is a fact that you just have to accept if you're going to understand this argument. So we want to be below that ridge. Well, by doing that, we're going to have a whole bunch of shots really far off this green, and now these aren't easy. I mean, this is a tight fairway lie where either if we're trying to chip it off of it, it's going to be pretty difficult to catch it clean. If we're going to putt through it, putting it to 4 feet is a pretty darn good putt, which is what we just hit a mediocre putt to from above the ridge. And most importantly, like we don't really have a whole lot of birdie looks either because we've gotten too conservative. So really what you have to think about, first of all, the red circle has many more good-looking birdie putts. But really, typically in these Venn diagram type situations, the middle is usually just about the same. This one's an extreme example because I'm trying to show why saying I'd rather be chipping from short than putting from long is not the way to look at this problem. So I don't have them overlapping quite as much as I normally would. So what we're really doing is saying, would I rather have all of these chip shots or all of these putts? And quite obviously, considering I will, like by definition, have some really good looking birdie putts instead of some really long chip shots, the main mathematical mistake that people make with regards to course management when they really don't understand how the math of golf interacts with golf course architecture is they compare one outcome to one outcome. What that guy is essentially saying is I'd rather be chipping from like right here than putting from right here. And that's probably true. But you have to consider the entirety of the shot pattern that allows that chip shot and allows you to never be above the ridge. And again, I've got these things angled for a right-handed player. The shot patterns are tilted slightly long left to short right. This is just the way it works. There's no getting around this. Go hit some balls on a launch monitor yourself and you will see this natural tilt. If you're a left-handed player, it will be tilted long right to short left. And after that, it really is just basic expectation math. I hope that kind of clears up some ideas and makes that make a little bit more sense. And obviously, not here trying to upsell you to the Decade app, but that's really what the content in the Decade app is about. We're trying to really show you the logic, the why of all these situations. I had a lot of people tell me the same stuff. Again, I do agree with people when they say a lot of what I teach, great instructors have taught forever, which I totally agree. That's why they were great instructors. But using the data, the images, the satellite views, all of these things to illustrate the same point. It's the why, it's the logic that matters. That's what I do think Decade does differently. So you can see right there in a 5-minute clip, it's pretty hard to argue against anything I just said right there. And obviously there's 10, 15, 20 hours of content very similar to that within both versions of the Decade app.